I just did something super nerdy. Happy Friday, welcome back to Drinking by Myself. My name is Emma and I have spent my whole evening creating a spreadsheet. I have been working on an entirely 100% scientific experiment to see if my reading tastes match my personality type. And to do this, I have looked into 3 different ways people use to analyse their personality type: star signs, which I don't believe in, Myers-Briggs personality types, which I do believe in because you just tell them what you are, and so that's just your own guess at it, and Enneagram types, which I know almost nothing about. But by the end of this, maybe I will have to change my mind. Maybe I'll have to believe in all of it. I don't know. I sort of know because I did just make the spreadsheet, but I didn't look too closely at the results yet. We are going to analyse them together. So first, look at this cool little colour-coded page I've got. Let's look at star signs. I went through so many different websites that recommended books based on your star sign, and I collected 7 recommendations per star sign. I then gave them a nice little rating system. So obviously I can't have read all of these books. The majority of books in the world I haven't read compared to the ones that I have read. So I kind of combined my actual ratings of books with my predicted ratings of books, or how excited I am for them. I'll just explain, shall I? I gave a book 5 points if it's a book that I read, and I gave it 5 stars. Simple. I gave a book 4 points if it was a 4-star read, or if it's a book that I am very excited to read and predict that I will love. And I said that I never gave 5 points to a predicted 5-star, because I just can't know, and also if I was that excited about it, I would have read it already. If I was really reading like that star sign, it would have been a book that I would have prioritized. So 4 was the maximum I could give to a book that I haven't read. I gave 3 points to a 3-star book, or a book that I was like, yeah, unsure, I'll give it a go. 2 points if it was a 2-star read, or a book that I was like, that is not my thing. And 1 point if it was a 1-star book, or a DNF, or if it was a book that I was like, I would literally never read that, not even if you paid me. And then just in case you think that rating system is totally flawed, I did an alternative rating system where I only scored the books that I had actually read. Obviously it's a funny comparison because I'd read different amounts of the different star signs books, but I guess that's another way of measuring reading like that star sign, is it's the number of books that I did pick up and enjoy. I'm not going to go through every single book on this list because otherwise this video will be 3 hours long, but I will go through the Gemini books because I am a Gemini. So these are theoretically the best possible book recommendations for me, Emma Alton. The first recommendation was My Monticello by Jocelyn Nicole Johnson. This is a collection of a novella and of several short stories, and they're all about racism, and I think they're all interlinked, and that does sound like something that would be up my alley. So even though I haven't read it, I graded that one 4. Next up, My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh. This is another one that I haven't read but has been quite high on my TBR for a long time, and I'm really, really intrigued by it. So another 4. Good recommendations so far. Then there was The Little Prince, a childhood book that I do absolutely love. I gave that one 4 because that would be a 4-star book for me. I didn't actually grow up with it in the same way that lots of people did, but I started reading it in adulthood, and I've now read it several times, and I think it's adorable. Next up was Atonement. That was a book that I haven't read it since I was 17, but I loved it at the time, so I gave that one 4 as well. We're sensing a theme. Then we hit a blip. I got recommended A Tale of Two Cities, and controversially I gave this one a 2, not because it's a 2-star book. I haven't read it, but I'm not particularly interested. I've been quite hit and miss with reading Charles Dickens. There are some that I've liked, some that I really haven't liked, and some that I'm interested to read, and some that I'm not interested to read. And for some reason, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just not interested to read A Tale of Two Cities. So I gave that one 2. Recommendation number 6 is The Upside of Unrequited. This is a YA novel. I think it's about a bi-main character. It sounds fun. It sounds like I would enjoy it. I would have a nice time with it, but it's not like my favourite kind of genre, so I gave that one a 3. And then finally, book recommendation number 7 was Where the Crawdads Sing, which was a book that I have read and loved. That was a 5-star read for me. So 5 points to Where the Crawdads Sing. But that's all well and good. What does it actually mean in comparison to the other star signs? Do I read like a Gemini more than the others? And the answer to that little question, my friend, is no. In terms of the number of books I picked up, I have only read 3 of the Gemini recommendations, whereas I have read 4 of the Sagittarius recommendations and 5 of the Scorpio recommendations. And when it comes to scoring them, Scorpio won by a long way because it actually included 3 of my 5-star reads. It included Detransition Baby, one of my favourite books of last year. It included Rebecca, another of my favourite books of last year, and it included My Sister the Serial Killer, which was one of my favourite books of the year that I read it a few years ago. It had Lolita in there, which I gave 4 stars to. It's a weird book, but I did like it. And it had Allegedly in there, which I had given 3 stars to. I didn't love it, but I did enjoy it. And then the other 2 books in there were I Feel Bad About My Neck and Trick Mirror, both of which I thought sounded interesting. I gave them each 3 points. So what this means is that by both of my different rating systems, I actually read like a Scorpio. That came out first in my overall combined rating system. I got 28 points there. Gemini was a close second at 26, but Scorpio still snuck into the lead. And if you go by my only the books that I've read rating system, then Scorpio was a clear winner. I got 22 points there. The next closest thing was Sagittarius with 14, and Gemini was number 3 with 13. So basically, pretty conclusively, I can say that I read like a Scorpio. The Gemini recommendations are not bad at all. It was up there. I wasn't completely averse to everything Gemini, but I'm truly a Scorpio inside. Let's look up Scorpios and see what I should know about myself. Scorpios are famously discreet and even secretive with an air of mystery around them. That is so not true of me at all. I'm the least discreet person ever, and I hate keeping secrets. Other personality traits include fearlessness, boldness, passion, creativity, and loyalty. I'll say that the last 3 are true, but I'm definitely not fearless or bold. I'm an anxious little bean. Whereas Gemini always tells me that I love being the centre of attention and that I'm like very moody and I flip back and forth. And even though I say I don't believe in star signs, that does seem to be fairly accurate for me. Is there anything else interesting to tell you about my findings here? The star sign that I am least similar to, by various different metrics, the one that scored the lowest in my overall rating was Capricorn. I didn't score anything there above a 2. I was not excited about any of those. And if you go by only the ones I've actually read, then I only read one and I gave it a 2. It was Great Expectations. Told you I'm not always hot on Charles Dickens, so I definitely do not read like a Capricorn. And then the star sign that I have picked up the least of overall anyway is Taurus, because I have actually never finished any of the books that were recommended to Tauruses. I did start reading one, but I DNF'd it, and that was Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit. And I do think I need to try it again. It does get recommended to me a lot, but for some reason when I first read it a few years ago, I just did not get hooked at all, so I DNF'd it. So I'm definitely not a Taurus. Right, quite enough of that. Moving on to the Myers-Briggs personality types. This one took me forever because there are 16 of the Myers-Briggs personality types, so it's a lot of stuff that I had to put into this grid. I picked 5 books recommended for each type, and then I also found a website that recommended genres, so I put 2 genres for each one, and then I rated those just based on how much I like those genres. 1 to 5 points for each of them. My personality type is an ENFP, and I had not picked up a single one of the books recommended for ENFPs. I also did not really agree with the genres. It recommended that I read non-fiction travel books. Not my thing. It did recommend reading satirical or humorous short stories, and I do enjoy those. So that was probably the best recommendation that I got. Everything else felt very, very wrong for me. It wasn't the absolutely worst score that I got, but it was just somewhere in the middle. The personality type I actually aligned the most with in terms of books was ENTP, because I had read 3 of those books, which is the most of any personality types that I had actually read the books. I had quite a few 3s and 4s in there, and the genres that it gave me were thrillers and true crime. Thrillers definitely is my thing. True crime I haven't read much of, but like sounds fun. Let's go replace my battery and then I'll ramble more at you. Okay, I'm back. So, the personality type that I align the most closely with by both of my metrics is actually an ENTP. That one recommended me Fight Club, which I have read. I gave it a 3. I liked the movie better. It recommended me Jeeves and Wooster, I love those, and it recommended me The Silent Patient, which I thought it was fine. But as I mentioned, the genres were a really good fit for me, and also it suggested Anatomy of a Scandal, which looked interesting, and The Blue Line, which looked really interesting. So I think maybe I'm actually an ENTP, and this is my sign that I should read both of those books to confirm that. Actually, I just opened up the description of The Blue Line, and having read more about it than the few lines from that article, I'm not sure I'm that interested. I'm going to downgrade it from a 4 to a 2. That was quite the leap, but it ultimately made no difference because ENTP is still the winner. All of the categories were quite close in this, and because I hadn't read the majority of the books, I'm not really sure that this data means anything, but a little more conclusive is I added up all of the introvert personality types and all of the extrovert personality types, and I can say that I do definitively read like an extrovert, which is what I am, because extrovert books scored 143, whereas introvert books scored just 118. So that's something. Right, the final category is Enneagrams. I have done the Enneagram test and I am a type 7. We have bright eyes and open minds, apparently. I like that description. And I would say that the books recommended for type 7s were pretty good. So I got a recommendation of Where the Crawdads Sing, which was a 5-star read for me. It also got recommended to Geminis. So that apparently is like my personality's best type of book. I got recommended Beach Read, which I read late last summer. I did a vlog on it and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I got recommended Such a Fun Age, which was another 5-star read. Of the books that I hadn't yet read, I wasn't particularly excited about them, so I got recommended American Royals, The Canterbury Tales, The Only Good Indians. I'm interested in that one, but I think it would be too scary for me, and Before She Ignites, which looked like nothing I would ever pick up. So nothing there is particularly exciting, but the ones that I had read were good suggestions. That gave me an overall score of 22 by the overall metric, or 14 by the only the books that I've read metric. So let's see how that stacked up. I shall tell you, it was very good. Not quite a clear winner, but pretty high up. So by the first metric, where it's just the overall combined ratings, there were actually 2 personality types tied for first place above my type 7. The first personality type that I apparently read like is a type 6. But equally, I also read like a type 4, and that one I guess technically is the winner because that one not only won the overall rating, it also tied for first place with the only the books that I've read rating. Tied for first place, by the way, with type 7, which is actually me. Are you following? So let's look at Enneagram type 4. I had read 4 of these recommendations, which is the most I had read from any of the groups. It included The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel, which I loved and was a 5-star read. It included Wilder Girls by Rory Power, which was a 4-star read. It included Frankenstein, which was a 3-star read, and it included The Night Circus, which was a 2-star read. So we do have a bit of a range there, but I guess in terms of the books that I'm most likely to pick up, I'm a type 4. So we have 4 and 6 tied for first place by one metric. We have 4 and 7 tied for first place by another metric. And we have 4 as the one that I've actually picked up the most books by. So by whichever of those 3 things you want to measure it, number 4 is clearly the winner. I'm a type 4. Let's see what I'm actually like. Goodbye, bright eyes and open minds. I am actually emotionally honest, creative and personal, but also moody and self-conscious. It's not wrong. They typically have problems with melancholy and self-indulgence. At me next time. So in conclusion, does my reading taste match my personality? No, it does not. Because I am a Gemini ENFP type 7, but I read like a Scorpio ENTP type 4. It's all wrong. It's all gone wrong. I've lost my sense of self. I don't know if any of you managed to keep up with all of the random numbers that I just spouted at you that didn't actually mean anything, but I had fun making this spreadsheet. I do think that I should now set myself the challenge of confirming all of this, so I should read the remaining 2 Scorpio books, which, reminder, were I Feel Bad About My Neck and Trick Mirror. I should read the remaining ENTP books, which were Anatomy of a Scandal and The Blue Line, which I'm no longer excited about. It had said something about her having visions and I got excited, but it's actually a historical action book and I'm not sure I want to read that. And I should read the remaining 4-star books, which include The Authenticity Project, Sweet Bitter, and We Are Okay. I'm very happy to give those a go. Let me know in the comments below if you think I will enjoy those books, and I would also love to know from you, what is your star sign, what is your Myers-Briggs personality type, and what is your Enneagram type, and do you think that any of those have any bearing on your life? Let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you soon.